friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. Well, I'm here today to talk about, are tinctures really necessary and what are their benefits? So here's the deal. We've kind of got into this mentality that everything has to be tinctured, and people feel like they have to tincture every single thing there is out there. And I've done a couple of videos on this that I'll link to down below that are related, that do you have to tincture everything and so on. And I wanted to expand on that a little bit because after doing that video, I was struck by something that really kind of I hadn't thought of before. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But I will say that tinctures and extracts for medicinal uses do definitely have benefits, and I'm going to cover some of those first. So one of the things is, like right here, I have, this is all the same thing. I call it an extract because I very rarely ever use a high proof alcohol when I'm making my medicinal extracts. And this one is for pain. So I recently got a stress fracture on my big toe that hurt so badly. And having this pain tincture on hand, especially while my herbs are not growing fresh, was definitely a lifesaver. So right here is the one I most recently strained out. And then while I was at it, because I needed to top this off too, and then I started a fresh batch. So if you're interested in my pain extract, this is my favorite blend. I have several videos out there, but my newest one is my best. And I even include the link to the written recipe for this and some of the options you can use. So it's going to be, it's all about tailoring it to you. But anyway, I'll put that in the description box down below, the link to that video. So anyway, for me in this situation, having the tincture ready to go was definitely a benefit because I didn't have the fresh herbs just to go out and eat them off the plant, which is what I typically do if I need some kind of pain remedy during that time of the year these things are growing. You can also make capsules out of these same herbs, and I've done that before, though I find the extract for me works better. And I don't have to hassle with filling capsules or buying the capsules that I have to fill. I just keep recycling the same bottles and jars and using my own homegrown herbs and homemade wine. And the only purchased product in this is the raw honey that I add, which is totally optional. So to me, this is a much less expensive way to go than using capsules. And extracts and tinctures are very, very easy to make. They're not fiddlesome the way making capsules are. If you're one that does not like to drink teas or decoctions and it's just not your thing, or if it's something where, like the feverfew that goes in the pain remedy, it's really bitter, it's not something you would want in a tea or decoction because you're just prolonging the agony of having to drink it that way, then again, a tincture or extract is definitely beneficial because depending on the solvent you use, you only need maybe a teaspoon to a shot glass at the most, and you can just take it down quickly, have it done, just like you would with a store-bought cold medicine, which we haven't bought in many years. So you need much smaller amounts of an extract or a tincture than you would a tea or decoction to get the same results. One of the things that you'll hear a lot is the claims that extracts, especially using a high proof alcohol, is going to extract more of the constituents of those herbs than making a tea would, which is why some people might lean more for an extract. Now, I have kind of mixed feelings on that. I don't think it's as much as people think it is, but this is just my opinion based on a few other things I've taken into consideration. But there is some truth to that. And then the other thing is, once you have them made, that they're easy to store and easy to use. And the solvents you're using may have some say in the shelf life. I have found none to ever go bad. And I have tried so many different solvents, different ways of making the solvents. Usually I'm using a blend. Never have had any go bad. In fact, these extracts I just strained out, one of them's 2 years old and the other one was 1 year old, and it's still good. There's nothing wrong with them. And this was using homemade wine and raw honey. Now, here's the thing to consider. Some people just don't want to take tinctures and extracts, and you know what? That's fine. You do not have to. There are other ways to get the benefits of the different herbs than having to rely on an extract. So, like I said, you can use a lot of herbs fresh, and they can be helpful that way, but some of them do need to be extracted somehow. And if you go and look at what the Native Americans did, they most typically use some kind of water solvent, whether it would be just a tea, like an herbal infusion. That would be something you would just heat up. This is something you would do with more delicate herbs. You just pour the water over the herbs, let it steep for 5 to 15 minutes, and then you drink that. Other things, especially if you're using something like medicinal mushrooms, such as turkey tail or reishi, or you're using woody items like barks and roots, then you're going to make a decoction. The difference between a decoction and an infusion, or tea, as we commonly call it, is you're simmering everything together and letting it cook down. And so usually you even reduce it down to about 50%, so you end up with a very strong solution. And this was common for Native Americans to use. In my research, I did not find any situations where Native Americans were using alcohols, vinegars, and the like to make a tincture or an extract. Teas and decoctions were their most common ways to take these things internally. Yes, some things were consumed raw, right off the plant, but in most cases it was teas and decoctions. They also commonly made poultices for using externally. These people were doing this for hundreds of years, and that is what worked for them, which tells me that the necessity for a tincture or an extract is really, it's not that necessary. But it can have its benefits. It can be just easier and quicker. And so the point is, find what works best for you. And yes, you can make extracts without using any alcohol. You can use a blend of 3 parts glycerin to water or 3 parts raw honey to water and make an alcohol-free extract. You may have to take a little bit more of it than you would an alcohol-based extract, but you can do that. You can also use vinegar, just straight homemade vinegar. That's what I used to do before I got back into my homemade wine making, which I do prefer my homemade wine over homemade vinegar for making any kind of medicinal extract. So just find what works best for you. And if you are like me and you enjoy drinking teas and decoctions, that just might be the way to go for you. If not, if you're just not, because I know some of you out there, that's just not your favorite thing to do, tinctures or making your own homemade capsules may be the way to go. But it does help to know more about the herbs and which ones extract better, doing what. But again, remember, the Native Americans did this for hundreds, thousands of years without using any kind of solvent other than water to pull the different constituents out of the various things that they were using to help heal their bodies of whatever ailment it was. So I hope you found this video helpful, and please share with us down below, what is your favorite way to take your medicinal herbs? Is it a encapsulated form? Is it in a tincture or an extract? Is it in a tea or decoction? Or do you use all of the above? And also share with us how any testimonials you'll have on any of these methods and how it has helped you. All right, well, thanks for watching. Take care, and God bless.